Hi guys, I am going to do a really quick video today. So I just didn't want to do 2 days in a row without a video. First off, I'd like to apologize. There wasn't a video on Tuesday. Monday, while we were sitting at dance, I was sitting there, everything was normal. And all of a sudden, I got really short of breath. I got a really bad headache. And I noticed my Fitbit said my heart rate had jumped incredibly high. Like sitting, it was 120. And when I got up to use the restroom, it jumped up to like almost 160. So I stuck it out through dance because I really didn't want to pull my kids out of dance. And after that, my husband dropped me off at the emergency room. And I got there probably at 5:15 was when I checked in, a little after 5:15. I did not get home till after 10:30. And that was because I chose not to wait until there was a room available in the ER. Because of the flu epidemic that's going around, everybody and their dog who thinks they have their flu was in the ER. Like, the lady at the registration was, kind of asking people, like, and notifying them, you're going to be here a minimum 5 hours. It could be even longer. So the hospital was full, the ER was full. The only rooms that were available were their trauma rooms, and they obviously had to keep the trauma rooms open for like extreme medical emergencies. But like I said, everybody and their dog that thought they had the flu or had like a cold. There was one lady in there that was complaining because her fever was 101. So she had to come to the ER. And even when the registration lady's like, okay, it's 101, have you tried anything to reduce the fever? No, I didn't take. And she's like, so do you take any aspirin, Tylenol, Advil? No, I didn't take anything. I just took my temperature. It was 101, so I came in. Okay, because of people like that is why the emergency room was so full, so flooded, so backed up. Yes, the flu is serious. I'm not trying to downplay that. It's, if you can wait it out at home or it's not incredibly bad, do it. Because people who are incredibly sick from the flu are now waiting because of you. And when I was there was a lot of drama that was going on. There was one lady that came in via ambulance for the flu because she thought it would get her in quicker. Literally, I'm not kidding you guys. Because her husband, kind of the story happened is when I came in, because I got there because of the chest pain and everything with the breathing. They took me right back, triaged me, did an EKG right away. Being all that came back normal. The only thing that wasn't normal was my pulse, which was still incredibly high, and my blood pressure was on the high side of normal. Not high side of normal. It was on the high side, but not anything that triggered anything. So they did a bunch of lab work. All the lab work came back fine except for my white blood cell count was high, which usually is. And so they still wanted me to be seen by a doctor, so I had to wait for that. But anyway, so I was in triage when she came via ambulance. Like, they didn't even bring her in a stretcher. She literally she was going to walk off the ambulance, and they forced her into a wheelchair. So then all of a sudden she gets in this wheelchair, and she gets into the wheelchair, and now she acts like she can't walk. Like I said, I was in triage, and where triage was, you could see all this happening. she then demanded that she didn't need to be triaged. Well, while in the ambulance, they had her hooked up. So they had all her vitals. They had her hooked up to heart monitors for the whole duration of her ride there. So they had all that heart information. They had all this information, and they gave it to the triage, and the triage is looking at her, looking at it like, okay, why are you here? Turns out, or like I said, there's this stuff. Well, they sent me back to the waiting room while they triaged, after I was done triaging, and they triaged her. They then came and got me for labs, and after labs, they took me down for x-rays to make sure I didn't have pneumonia, since I've had it in the past. And to check, like, if there was any heart abnormalities they could see on ultrasound, or not ultrasound, x-ray, and then they were going to do an ultrasound if they did that, if they saw anything. So anyways, I get back out in the waiting room, and I had to use the restroom at this point. Well, they had taken her to the lab, and a nurse had taken her to the restroom and told her she needed to do her lab stuff, or do her restroom part of her lab. Well, the nurse told her, she goes, you can pull the cord when you're done, but it might be like a 5-minute wait in the restroom before a nurse can come assist you, since we're so busy. So anyways, the lady goes into the restroom. I go into the restroom, come out, wash my hands. I leave the restroom. The next thing I know, somebody is pushing her into the waiting room near where I was, and she's yelling at this nurse to give her a phone. And the nurse is like, I'm sorry, ma'am, there is no public phone here. We have a pay phone, but it's in this other area. And she's like, I need to call my husband. I want to call my husband. I demand to call my husband. Well, finally, somebody in the waiting room, just to shut her up, handed her their cell phone. So she calls her husband and just starts yelling and screaming at him that she should have been seen first because she came in via ambulance, and that she wanted him to come pick her up to take her to a different hospital. And I mean, it was just all this drama. So her husband and her daughter get there and he sits down to try to calm her down. Her daughter's trying to console her because at this point she's making a huge scene, which I get it. People don't feel good, but things have to be prioritized in an emergency room. It's not a first come, first serve. You think you're going to get your fast ticket in because you're in an ambulance. Anyways, her husband comes and sits down by her, and he's like, well, how are we going to get your car home? And she goes, my car's at home. He goes, what do you mean your car's at home? How did you get here? And she goes, I came from the ambulance. And he goes, what? And she goes, I came with the ambulance. And he goes, you told me you were driving yourself to the ER. And she goes, oh, I drove myself to the ER. I came in and they told me it would be about a 5-hour wait. So I went home and called 911. Really, lady, if you were able to drive to the ER, be told it's a 5-hour wait, then conceive the plan, I'm going to drive back home, call 911 to get the ambulance to come pick me up because I will be a priority and get through this faster. To me, that's saying you're not that sick. You were already at the ER and you decided to drive home to call 911. So then she made him take her over to the registration, and she cut off her bracelets and threw it at the registration lady. And she goes, I'm leaving. My husband's taking me to a different hospital where they treat people like humans. And I'm thinking, every ER in the 100-mile, probably in the country right now, is going to look the same. It's not going to matter. The smaller ERs are going to be just as busy as the larger ERs. Somebody even said that they had went to the walk-in clinic, and the walk-in clinic got to the point where at 5 o'clock they weren't even registering people anymore because they already at 5 o'clock, like the walk-in clinic closes at 9 p.m. The walk-in clinic had a 5-hour wait as well. So at 5 o'clock, they were actually turning patients away because they were so full that at the rate they were going, they wouldn't get out of there till after 10. I mean, that's just how it is everywhere right now because of the flu. And the only other option she probably could have had is there's a bunch of these. Sorry, guys. They took me off my reflux meds, and I'm refluxing really bad. But there are these like 24-hour, 24/7 freestanding premium ERs is what they call them. Some of them take insurance. Some of them don't take insurance. Some insurances are okay with that being taken, but they are considered out of network, so you have to pay the higher cost. So like if I'd go to a premium ER, I would be looking at, instead of a $75 copay, I'm looking at a $250 copay. May I get in and out quicker? Yeah, because it's higher and you don't have people who don't have insurance, are on medical assistance, Medicaid, Medicare. And I'm not saying anything is bad about those things. I'm just saying because they can't go to these places and they can only go to certain ERs, these ERs are like a fast track. Well, yeah, I can go to one of those, but it's going to cost me a lot more. What's more important, my time or money? And obviously in this lady's case, she's now going to have a lovely ambulance bill, which she also threatened them and said, oh, I'm not paying the ambulance fees. And I'm thinking, the funny thing is you're going to be billed by your county for those ambulance fees, not the hospital. And the ambulance is completely separate than the hospital. So that was just one drama story. And I'm telling the second story, I'm going to start getting Oakley ready because tomorrow we are going to be going on an outing. Or you'll be seeing this video. So today we're going on the outing. Tomorrow you'll see, tomorrow you'll see the video. So I'm going to start kind of getting her ready. And she's got this cute outfit from Auntie Angela. I was going to put her on and put on the RealCare clothes on her. And her battery's not fully charged. And I'm also going to be meeting some ladies to pick up some stuff that I found on Marketplace. And I didn't really want to have to be tending to her while trying to drive. I'm not exactly sure time frames of everything. I'm supposed to be meeting them around noon. Both of them at the same place around noon. And then I wanted to go to Burlington and possibly, it depends upon time. I know for sure I want to go to Burlington and H&M, but I also need to get back by 2 o'clock to pick my kids up from school. And I really don't want to be tending to her while I'm waiting in the car line. That's just going to be, even though I have a van, it's going to be a pain in the butt because she's going to be in the third row. So I'm going to be taking her with. I just am not going to be having her on. But she is wearing this outfit from Auntie Angela. It's a Gymboree outfit. It's like a flowy type top. And the top has stars, circles, triangles, and like diamond type shapes on it. And they're in aqua, teal, red, and pink, and navy blue. And then there's some aqua pants on her. And then Angela sent it with this cute little headband that's like a puffy headband. I'm just going to put some white socks on her. I thought I had some frilly socks, but I can't find them. And since there's navy blue, and then I'm just going to pair them with these, I know they're boy, navy blue sneakers. I don't really have anything else that would match it. But you're probably not going to see, well, I can move her a little bit so you can see a little bit. So anyways, the second drama of the night was I kind of moved around in the waiting room a little bit trying to get away from germs. And then I noticed my cell phone was dying, which our ER kindly has charging stations in it, where they have cords for all different kinds of charges or cell phone plugs. So I finally found a spot near the cell phone plugs. So I go over there, I sit down, and there is a lady near me in a wheelchair. She did not look good at all. Poor soul, looked like she had been through the ringer. And she was sitting there, and the I don't know if it was her daughter or what was sitting next to her. It was a younger lady. I'm assuming daughter. It could have been a daughter-in-law. Could have been a younger friend. I'm not exactly sure who she was with, but she was sitting with this younger lady. And they were chatting. And all of a sudden, the lady in the wheelchair started having a seizure. So the young lady that was with her, she looked like she was probably early 20s, runs over to the registration desk and starts yelling, "Something's going on, something's wrong." And all of a sudden, a bunch of nurses come flying out of the ER, and they take her back. Okay, yeah, that's a fast track. That's why they have a few of they leave their trauma bays, and they said they actually had 2 rooms that they left open for actual emergencies, not just flu. They were kind of trying to conserve rooms for just certain rooms were supposed to be flu-related illnesses. They had a bunch of people in hallways. I ended up being a person that literally sat on a chair in the hallway to be seen. Could it have been a huge it was kind of huge HIPAA violations because, like, there was 3 of us sitting in the hallway. I knew exactly what was going on with both people on either side of me. They knew what was going on with me as well. But I made the choice to be seen in the hallway, so I chose to break the HIPAA so that I could get out of there faster. But anyways, so there was they had a security guard sitting there, or by the door, and all of a sudden, this lady who had been sitting in a wheelchair since I got there, who was sitting by the security guard, just gets irate. She's screaming at the security. All of a sudden, I hear her screaming at the security guard. And I look over, and she's standing up. She had one of those, like, plastic vomit bags. I can't think of what they're called. She has this vomit bag. She's got, like, a blanket wrapped around her, and she sat there the whole time acting like she was about to die. Like, oh, like you would hear these sounds like that every few minutes from her. So after the lady who is having a seizure is rushed back, this lady just is making this scene. She flings off her blanket, throws it at the security guard, takes her little vomit bag, there's nothing in it, throws that at him. She is holding some other stuff, she throws that at them. Our ER and hospital now have disposable, like, blood pressure cuffs. When my daughter was in the ER, that's what she gave her in her whole hospital stay. She had that disposable blood pressure cuff. And then going from the ER to her room, they kept the same one on her. She had it her whole hospital stay. And then when they clean up her room, they throw it away. That's to prevent the spread of germs, which is really smart, especially like in a hospital setting where it's going to be used more than once. So she throws her blood pressure cuff at him, and she grabs her bag, and she's cussing and swearing as she's digging through her bag, flinging things everywhere, and he's trying to calm her down. And she's cussing and swearing, "I'm sick of waiting at this mother effing place. I'm done with this mother effing place. I've been here too long. I should be seen by now. And look, this BIT comes in, and she has a seizure just so she can get seen first." I mean, this lady, it's like, I know people, like, you can get delusional when you have high fevers. But this lady, it was like a switch was flipped. And then she starts accusing him of losing her glasses. And he's like, ma'am, you never came in with glasses. And then she starts cussing and swearing at him that he took them off her face and put them in her car. And then she grabs her keys and storms out. Well, then the receptionist or the registration lady is yelling at the poor security guard saying, you need to stop her. And the security guard goes, I can't do anything. He goes, I can't force her to stay. And she's like, well, the way she's been acting for the last couple hours versus now, she could be detrimental to herself. And he goes, unless the doctor's back there put her on a psych hold, I can't do anything. He goes, any of these people here, I can't force them to stay. If they want to leave, they can leave on their own free will, with or without doctor's consent or being seen by a doctor. That's their choice. And it was almost like the receptionist was angry with him that he wasn't doing anything, which, I mean, the guy was just doing his job. So she leaves, and then I guess she was driving erratic as she pulled out of the parking lot as well. At that point, security did call the local PD, gave them her name, her address, all that kind of information, as well as they were able, from the security cameras, get her license plate number. They assumed she was driving home, so they gave all that stuff to the PD. So I don't know what happened after that, but it's like, people were just crazy. It's like, I didn't want to go to the ER, but at the point of over an hour of my heart rate at 120 and not going down, it was hard to breathe. I had a pounding headache, and my chest just hurt. I mean, I put it off as long as I could. It was a good thing I went in, because now I can prove to my doctor that for some reason my white blood cell count is always high. This has been going on for years. I looked back. I have my chart is what they call it, that has all like my medical tests and stuff. And I went back from my previous, oh, that's too much. I'll just use the blanket. My previous medical provider, and what was I just gonna say? And even then, most of like when they run my full blood count, my white blood cell count always is either the high side of normal, which anything I believe 5 to 10 is normal, and mine usually runs between a 9.5 and a 15. And when I'm like last year when I had pneumonia, it was like a 20 something. So I don't know what's going on with that, so I can bring that up to my doctor, and now I have proof for that. But anyways, I paired this with the blanket from Auntie Crystal that has the little rainbows all over it. I was going to use my Hello Kitty dream blanket, but I believe my daughter walked away with it, because I am not seeing it anywhere. But it's not supposed to be too cold tomorrow. Part of the reason why I want to bring her with is one of the ladies, I'll have a haul video, but I'm going to be picking up some Dr. Brown bottles, the purple ones. I have been looking all over for the purple ones. I saw them once at Toys R Us, and I picked them up, carried them around, and then put them back. And I regretted doing it, and I wanted them, so I went back to get them a few days later, and they were gone, because they only had one package of them. And then I looked on Amazon, and they were more expensive on Amazon. And it was more than what I really wanted to pay for bottles for my dolls. So I found somebody who had some. She has a whole bunch of Dr. Brown bottles. I'm just getting the purple ones, but they're at a price that I'm more willing to pay. And she's like, her and I were talking, because she kind of had the pieces mixed up, because she had a purple set, a pink set, and then a normal set. And I have a pink one, and I have a bunch of like the normal color, or like the clear ones, but I've really been wanting the purple since purple's my favorite color. So she's like, well, in the ad it says they need new nipples, even though the picture shows they have nipples. So I'm going to take the nipples off and throw them away because my baby's used them for over a year. And I'm like, actually, I collect dolls. I'm going to modify the nipples anyways. She's like, oh, well, then I'll just leave them on. So I'm hoping she remembers that and does that. And another lady I'm going to be meeting is I am going to be buying a second Graco car seat. Since this one matches that other or the other stroller, I wanted two of them. So one that matches that, my mode stroller, and one that matches this stroller, or the stroller that goes with this. The one that I'm going to be getting tomorrow is just, I think, black and gray. And so it's not the stroller, that's the pattern that goes with my modes stroller. But at least the mode stroller, I can take the seat off if I need to and just use the frame. Or I can, I am looking for the headrest that goes with the modes one to use that. If I can find that, great. I'm also looking for the headrest for this one. Where am I going to go with this? I have pictures of what the headrest should look like on my Facebook page. And the link for my Facebook page will be up. I'll just put that up in the iCard. If you see either of those headrests, could you please let me know? If it's locally, please let me know before you message the seller to see if it's something I can afford. Or if you see them like on Macari or swap.com or ThreadUp or anything like that, please let me know. But I'm looking for the headrest, the one that goes with this one, and then the one that matches the other stroller or matches something similar to the other stroller. I'll put the patterns and the information all on my Facebook page on a picture. So, as always, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button below. Hit the little bell if you want to get notifications every time I upload a new video. Or you can go over on the side and hit the purple My Reality with Nicole. That will also be where you can subscribe on a desktop computer. Like this video and leave a comment below. And I hope everybody has a great day. I'll see you all later. Bye.